I want you to picture a scenario, a very specific, very annoying scenario.
Mm-hmm.
It's Tuesday morning. You're running, say, 10 minutes late. You are standing in front of your closet.
Okay, I'm with you.
It is physically full. I mean, the hangers are jammed so tight you have to wrestle them apart. And yet you say the sentence that pretty much every single one of us is saying.
I know this one. I have nothing to wear.
I have absolutely nothing to wear.
It's the universal cry of the modern human.
It really is. Or, maybe you're out shopping, the lighting is awful, you've tried on 6 pairs of jeans, and you just get this wave of just exhaustion.
Right, and you think, nothing feels right on me. I hate all of this.
Exactly. It's frustrating. And we usually just brush it off as this, trivial, everyday annoyance.
We do. We totally minimize it. We think, oh, I'm just being shallow, or I just need to buy more stuff. We treat it like it's a logistics problem.
Yes. But here is where we are going to take a hard left turn. For this deep dive, we're looking at a fascinating piece of writing. It's called Emilia's Psychology of Fashion.
By Emilia Nadratowska-Cząba.
And she argues that if we stop rolling our eyes at that feeling, if we actually listen to it, it's not about clothes at all.
No, it isn't. It's actually masking something much deeper, much more haunting. When you stand there and say, I don't know what to wear, what you might actually be saying is, I don't know who I am.
Wow. That is a pretty heavy realization for a Tuesday morning closet panic.
It is heavy. But that's the mission today. We are not talking about style tips or what colors you should wear. We are looking at how that aesthetic confusion, that inability to choose, is a primary symptom of living with what's called a false self.
And why finding your true self isn't just some self-help luxury anymore.
Exactly. In the world we live in, it's basically the only survival mechanism we have left.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Because the source material starts by setting the stage with this environment we're all trying to survive in. It uses a term I've heard in business, but never really from my own psychology. The VUCA world.
Right, VUCA. VUCA. It's an acronym that, it started in the military, but it's just become the perfect descriptor for modern life.
So what does it stand for?
It stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous.
Which honestly sounds like the tagline for the entire 2020 so far.
It really does. And the argument here is that historically people had external structures holding them up.
Like your village, your religion.
Your lifelong career, your social role. Those were the anchors. If you didn't know who you were, the system told you, you are a blacksmith, you are a father.
Right.
Done.
But now
all those structures are, they're crumbling. We're constantly shifting. Jobs aren't for life. Social norms can change overnight. The source argues that in a VUCA world, the external chaos is a given.
So if you don't have a solid internal core,
you're just a leaf in a hurricane. That external chaos becomes this massive existential threat to your psychological stability.
The source brings up a really visceral example of this that we all lived through. The pandemic.
That was the ultimate VUCA moment, wasn't it?
Right.
Overnight, the world became dangerous, unknown. It demanded we all adapt instantly.
And the source makes this really interesting kind of dark observation.
It does. It says the people who struggled the most, and not just financially but psychologically, were often the ones who didn't have a stable sense of self.
Because when the office closed and the party stopped and all that external validation just evaporated.
Exactly. If your whole identity was, I'm a manager at X Corp, or I am the person who goes to the cool parties, and suddenly those things are gone, who are you?
You disappear.
It's a terrifying freefall, because the mirror you used to see yourself in has been completely shattered.
But, and this is where it gets really fascinating, for some people, the pandemic was actually a moment of deep integration.
Yes. This is so interesting, because all the noise stopped, the performance stopped, and for a lot of people, these dormant parts of their identity, things they'd suppressed for years to fit in, they started to bubble up.
We all know someone like this. The person who quit their high-pressure job to bake sourdough or started painting. We kind of joked about pandemic hobbies.
Right, but this source suggests it wasn't just boredom, it was the true self finally getting a word in edgewise.
The crisis stripped away the defenses.
Precisely. The core argument is that in a world where you can't rely on anything external to tell you who you are, the only reliable anchor left is you. You have to be your own system.
Okay, so if we need this internal anchor, what's it actually made of? The source gets into the science of identity here, specifically two things, values and stories.
Right. And we should probably be careful with the word values because it gets ruined by, corporate posters.
Integrity and synergy, it feels like fluff.
Total fluff.
Right.
But the source uses the work of a psychologist, Shalom Schwartz, who basically made a map of universal values.
Universal. So like across all cultures.
Exactly. And he argues values aren't just nice words. They're the operating system for your personality. Things like freedom, security, tradition, power.
Self-transcendence.
Yes. And his point is that every single person has a hierarchy. You have a dominant value that drives you.
So it's not just that we all like freedom. It's that for one person, freedom is their oxygen. But for another, security is their oxygen.
Exactly. And those two people need to live radically different lives to feel whole. The conflict, and this goes right back to that closet, happens when your life contradicts your dominant value.
Can you give an example of that?
Sure. Imagine someone whose core value is creativity. That's their engine. But they grew up in a family that valued security and conformity above everything.
So to be a good kid, they do what's expected.
Right. They become an accountant. They wear the gray suit. They have the stable 401k. On paper, they are winning at life.
But internally?
Internally, they're dying. It's a constant grinding friction. Every single time they put on that suit, it feels like a costume. Not because it's ugly, but because it represents a value system, conformity, that is completely alien to their soul.
They're wearing a lie.
That's the disconnect. And that leads perfectly into the second pillar, identity as a narrative.
This is from Dan P. McAdams. I love this idea that we're all just storytelling animals.
McAdams is brilliant on this. He says your identity isn't a list of traits like I'm nice or I'm hardworking. Your identity is a story. It's a myth you build to make sense of your life.
And inside that story, there's a main character.
A central character, which he calls the Imago.
The Imago. That sounds like something out of a fantasy novel.
It kind of is. It's the archetype of your life, the protagonist.
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself, who is the hero of your movie? Are you the warrior, the caregiver, the explorer, the creator?
And this Imago, it affects everything you do, right? Not just how you see yourself.
It affects everything. It's a filter for reality. If your Imago is the warrior, you look at a problem and you see a battle to be won. You dress for combat sharp lines, bold colors.
But if you're the caregiver,
you see that same problem as an opportunity to help and nurture, and you'll dress differently. Softer, more approachable.
the clothes or the costume for the movie we think we're in.
We dress the part of the Imago.
But here's the problem, and this is the crux of it all.
Yeah.
For so many of us, the movie we're acting in,
We didn't write the script.
and that's the tragedy. That's the false self.
Yes.
So let's diagnose this. The source talks about Donald Winnicott, who coined the term.
Mm-hmm.
How does this even happen? I mean, do we just wake up one day and decide to be fake?
No, and it's so important to have compassion here. It's way more innocent and sadder than that. It starts in childhood. And at its core, it's a survival strategy.
Survival. That
Yeah.
sounds pretty dramatic for a kid just trying to fit in.
Well, for a child, attachment is survival. If your parents don't care for you, you die. So imagine a child who is naturally, say, loud or messy or fiercely independent,
Okay.
but they're in an environment, a family, a school that finds that threatening.
The environment sends the message. Don't be that.
Don't be loud. Be a quiet girl. The child learns really fast. My true self is dangerous. It risks love. It risks my safety. So what do? They hide it. And they build a persona that pleases the environment.
They give the audience what it wants.
Exactly. And they get rewarded for it. Oh, look how well behaved she is. Over time, the child doesn't just act the part. They merge with it. They forget it was ever an act. That's the false self. It's a shield.
The source breaks this down into two types of lost identity, which I found super helpful. The first one is the borrowed self.
Or foreclosed identity. This one is so common. It's the person who essentially downloads a prepackaged identity from their culture or their family.
Like buying the whole outfit off the mannequin because you don't know how to style yourself.
Perfect analogy. My father was a doctor, so I'm a doctor. They check every box. They look very mature. They never went through a rebellious phase.
Which sounds good.
It looks good from the outside.
Yeah.
But it's foreclosed. They signed the contract before they ever looked at the house. So in their 30s or 40s, they hit a wall. They feel like imposters.
Because the life they're living isn't theirs.
It belongs to someone else. And the second type is the diffused self.
This is the total opposite.
Right. This is the person with no rudder, no coherence, the drifter, One day they want to be a graphic designer, the next a yoga teacher. They avoid hard decisions because they have no access to that internal compass. Every little breeze just blows them in a different direction.
And their closet must be just chaos.
Total chaos, a graveyard of abandoned personalities. Nothing fits because there is no me to fit.
Okay, so I'm listening to this, and I'm getting a little nervous, and I think a lot of our listeners might be too. Like, uh-oh, is this me?
It's a natural question.
Yeah. The source actually gives a kind of checklist. Symptoms. And some of them are surprisingly subtle.
They are. The false self is designed to blend in, so the symptoms aren't, huge meltdowns. They're quiet signals. The first one is the actress effect.
The actress effect.
Yeah, it's a subtle dissociation. You're at a dinner party, you're saying the right things, laughing at the right jokes, but there's a part of you that feels like it's floating in the corner of the room, just watching.
You're not in the moment, you're performing the moment.
Exactly. And that leads to this deep, lonely exhaustion. You come home and you're just drained, not from work, but from acting.
Which leads to the second symptom, decision paralysis.
And it's not just about what to eat for dinner. It's a chronic disorientation about what is actually good for you. You don't know what you want. You only know what you should want.
So every choice feels huge and terrifying.
Then there's relationship fatigue. This idea that you need a break from being yourself.
That's a huge red flag.
It is. Or, and this is a common one, you find yourself fantasizing about a partner who is completely different from your current one.
Like you're with a stable accountant, but you dream about a wild artist who lives in a van.
Right. And that fantasy isn't really about the artist. It's your true self trying to break out. It's saying, I want to be wild. I want to be the artist.
You're projecting your suppressed self onto someone else.
You can't embody it, so you fantasize it. And then we circle all the way back to aesthetic numbness.
Yeah, this one hit home. The source says when clothing becomes just armor or protection, that's a bad sign. But I can hear people thinking, hey, I just want to be comfortable.
And look, there's nothing wrong with comfort. But the source argues that often comfort or practicality is an excuse. It's a resignation.
It's giving up on self-expression.
It's the false self keeping you safe by making you invisible. It's saying, I will hide in this beige functional uniform so no one can criticize me.
Aesthetic anesthesia.
Perfect. And the last symptom is this constant sense of waiting.
The feeling that your real life hasn't started yet.
When I lose 10 pounds, then I'll dress up. When I get the promotion, then I'll be happy. You're constantly treating the present moment like a waiting room.
So if we recognize ourselves in these symptoms, where did the real us go? This is where the source brings in Carl Jung and the concept of the shadow.
Right. And usually we think of the shadow as all the dark stuff. Repressed rage, jealousy.
The murderer inside.
Exactly. And Jung says, yes, that's in there. But the source highlights something really specific. The white shadow.
The white shadow. I love this concept.
It's the gold in the basement. It's not just the darkness we repress. It's the light. It's the bright, strong, beautiful parts of us that we had to hide to be accepted.
So for a kid, maybe that was their boldness.
Exactly. Imagine a family that values being quiet and polite, a child who is naturally bold and charismatic. That boldness becomes a threat. So the child shoves that boldness into the shadow.
It becomes the white shadow.
Yes. It's a positive trait, but it's locked away in the basement with all the rage. So you grow up to be a quiet, mousy accountant, but you have this nagging feeling you're meant to be a performer. That's the white shadow knocking.
And Jung has that really scary warning about this.
He does. What we fail to make conscious becomes our fate.
Oof.
It is. If you don't unlock that white shadow, you will just reenact other people's scripts forever. You're doomed to repeat what you don't repair.
So we have to go into the basement and get the gold. But the source argues that modern culture is basically designed to stop us from doing that.
This is the modern trap. Consumer culture doesn't want you to do the hard, messy work of digging into your psyche. It's painful. It doesn't sell products, so it offers you a shortcut.
The identity costumes.
Exactly. Why find your true self when you can buy a self off the rack for $200?
The source lists some brutal examples. I think we're about to step on some toes here.
Let's do it. There's the rebel costume, the thrifted denim jacket, the Parisian girl, the striped shirt, the red lip.
The tech bro in the Patagonia vest.
Right to feel attacked.
The cottagecore influencer in the linen dress holding a basket of apples she definitely didn't pick.
We all do it. Because these are simulations. They're pre-packaged identities. You buy the whole set, the clothes, the coffee cup, the hobbies. It offers quick social recognition. You put on the costume. People know how to categorize you. You belong.
But it's a facade.
A total facade. It's an imitation of authenticity. It's purchased, not discovered. And that's why even when you buy the perfect Parisian wardrobe, you still feel that quiet emptiness.
You're wearing the warrior's armor, but you're still the caregiver inside.
Or the caregiver's apron when you're a warrior who wants to burn it all down.
The true self cannot be downloaded.
No.
So what's the path forward? If we strip away the costumes, what do we actually do?
It just comes back to those hard, slow questions. It takes courage to stop looking outward for validation and start looking inward. It's asking, who am I really? What is my myth? What is the story I want to tell?
And reconnecting with those values we talked about.
That is the ultimate skill in a VUC 9-year-old. The source puts it so well. Knowing your values doesn't mean you control the world. The world will still be chaotic, but you can remain inwardly steady while everything shifts.
You become the tree instead of the leaf in the wind. The wind still blows, but you stay rooted.
Exactly. And when you have that root, your choices change. They stop being about fitting in or hiding. They become about resonance.
Resonance, I like that word.
You look at a piece of clothing or a job offer and you just ask, does this resonate with my true self? Does this belong in my story? And if the answer is no, you walk away. Even if it's trendy or sensible, you just ignore the noise.
That sounds incredibly liberating.
It's the only true freedom.
As we wrap this up, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought from the source that I found really empowering. We started with a negative feeling, frustration, right?
Yeah.
I feel lost. I hate my closet.
Yeah, and we usually treat those feelings as flaws. We shame ourselves. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just be happy?
But the source flips that completely on its head.
It does. It says that nagging dissatisfaction, that inability to find the right outfit, those aren't signs that you're broken. They are signs that your true self is waking up.
It's the white shadow knocking on the door.
It is. It's your authentic self demanding a voice. It's signaling that the old story, the old costume, it doesn't fit anymore. It's growing pains. And that's uncomfortable, yes, but it is also the best news possible.
Because it means you're ready to stop performing and start living.
So next time you stare at your closet and hate everything in it, don't panic. Don't beat yourself up. Just take a breath.
It might just be the start of meeting the real you.
It's an invitation. Take it.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
See you next time.